We got you. There it is. All right, welcome everybody to the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every day, round about this time. It's hot topics, current events. It's really whatever I find interesting about today. I don't do politics, so this isn't a show where you're going to hear like Trump cheerleading or any kind of anti-MAGA bullshit. No, I mean, I guess you'll get some of that because I'm a normal person and I have normal reactions to just everyday things. And in today's American 2025 civilized society, it seems to me that political talk or political influence in one's opinion is everywhere. So it's unavoidable. But I don't care how you vote. That's what this show is and what it always has been. All right, some of the stuff we're going to talk about today. I'm a little distracted. I won't look you in the eye. I refuse to look the chat room in the eye. Well, here, I'll show you what I'm watching. I guess I can show you what I'm watching. Here we go. It's a big day, or is it? I don't know. I don't know what's important anymore. And neither do you. None of us know what's important anymore. This seems maybe important. That's right. All right. Trump and Putin, they're in Alaska right now. Now, both have just arrived. How exciting. Both have just arrived. They arrived at like the same time. And if we're keeping score, and I pretty much think that we are, we got a way better plane than them. Okay. I know Trump complains about Air Force One. Air Force One is fucking baller, man. That plane is awesome. We're looking at it right now. Air Force One is cool. Okay, maybe it can be better. Maybe it doesn't have gold toilets like some fucking Saudi prince. But it's a cool ass plane. The Russians showed up in what looked like, some refurbished Spirit plane from the 1990s. Seriously, the Russian version of Air Force One. There it is. Hold on. They're going to show it? No, I guess they're not going to show it. They'll show it in a minute. You'll see. It's ugly. You know what it might be? It might just be because it's got like the colors. It's colored. It's painted. I'm talking about the Russian Air Force One. The one that Putin just flew into Alaska in, it's painted like it's painted in 70s colors. Like it looks like, oh, that's a plane from 1978. And I doubt that it is, but it's still, and by the way, it backs up my whole belief that as far as culture and all that shit, Russia is still in the 1970s. They're still in the 1970s. They weren't allowed to culturally advance the way that we did because we had freedom. They had this Soviet authoritarian regime. So they had to play a lot of catch up. And right now they're in the 70s. They think disco is great. Everybody still smokes everywhere. You can call somebody, who's a little mincy. You can say, hey, fag, you can do that. It's the 1970s. So maybe that's why their plane is decorated like a discount regional air flight from the 1970s. So we win the plane game. Probably also win the train game too. What else do we win? Oh, did you see some of this other bullshit this morning about, okay, so let me reset for you. Vladimir Putin, who is a monster of a human being, is coming to Alaska, has arrived in Alaska to meet with President Trump of these here United States. And they're going to talk about the war in Ukraine. Now, this is, really just a first meeting. There's a lot of people who are going, he didn't even invite Zelensky. Like, okay, well, remember the last time they got together and he kicked Zelensky out of the White House and it was a whole thing because they were all trying to be chest puffy for the Republicans and the MAGA people because back then they were still against Ukraine. They're for Ukraine now. Now it's like, yeah, he's okay. But back then it was like, how do we embarrass this guy that Twitter makes fun of? So they threw him out of the White House. It was awful. So anyway, oh, here he comes. Let's see if there's any commentary. I got the sound off. Hold on. Here he comes. Don't fall. Don't fall. Who are these people? Anybody we recognize? Guys, he's like, yeah, right. Who's this? Is this security? Is this like Secret Service? Oh, here's Putin. See his stupid plane? See how it looks like it's from the 1970s with those stripes? Okay, there doesn't appear to be any commentary, just, airplane engine noise, which we don't need. I can't tell you if this is live and occurring simultaneously, although I imagine with these sort of ego mental games these guys play. They've probably arranged it so, no, you will exit first. No, you will, you know, that kind of bullshit. So they're like, all right, we'll exit at the same time. It's got to be, because both of these fucking planes like landed at the same time. Here they come. Who's going to meet? Whose side? Like, are they going to meet in the exact middle? Is there going to be an exact middle, or is somebody going to come over to somebody's side a couple inches too far? Where do we go? There's Putin. Look at this guy. Just probably the world's greatest mass murderer. Just walking completely free. Serial killer. He's in charge of a country, so it's a different set of rules, but that's him. All right, look what's Trump doing. I don't know what he's doing, but I promise you, whatever this line is, this thing here, they're like, okay, Mr. President, you're going to walk up to that thing. And he walked right up. That was like maybe his mark. He stopped there. No, he's... Oh, geez, I hope this ain't one of the Mitch McConnell moments. Somebody playing YMCA. Why is he clapping? All right, wait. All right, here we go. Are we gonna? Is he gonna balance beam this bitch? Holy shit! Wait a second. What is going on here? What? First of all, two questions. Is Putin about to fist bump Trump? Is that what we're seeing here? Is Putin about to fist bump Trump? You know how I feel about the fist bump. I had a whole screen on it a couple of weeks ago. And what is with the balance beam bullshit? Why is this? There's a reason for all of this stuff, people. There is a reason for all of it. Right, let's see, does he fist bump Trump? Because right now, that looked like a real handshake. Okay, for a minute there, I think Putin wanted to fist bump, and Trump fell into that thing that I always fall into, where I'm going to come out straight first and foremost with a handshake until I see a sign that it's not a handshake. At which point I may feel forced to do a fist bump, but that depends on whether or not you have recognized me coming in first with a handshake. You might now be switching to a handshake while I'm switching to a fist bump. Do you see how messed up this is? That's what I think just happened here. I think we just had on the global stage a fist bump handshake situation. Yeah, definitely. Although, honestly, look at this. This might be the move, man. This Putin might have the move down, which is come in, kind of fist bump, kind of handshake, wait for whatever he does, and then react to his movement. Although that doesn't seem like very Putin-y, right? Putin seems like... Anyway, let's watch. I'm not going to break down every little... What kind of small talk can these guys be doing here? Because it's not, I'm not giving you what you want on Ukraine. It's not that. It's like, yeah, you look good. No, you look good, right? What are they saying? And I still don't know what this balance beam bullshit was. Why were they like, let's give him a red carpet too, but let's make it real skinny. What is going on with that? There's a reason for it. All right, now they're walking. Still, we're not getting any commentary, because this is just a raw feed from Reuters. A bit of psychological intimidation there, maybe? You know, perfectly timed flyover by some American military war machines? All right, I'm all for it. What is it? So you think you can dance? Are they about to like audition for something? Look at these two clowns.
President Putin, will you agree to a ceasefire?
Oh, a press conference. We're getting a press conference. Okay, here we go. Right. Oh, maybe not. No, this is a photo op. They're not answering questions. We're just going to hear some of the questions being shouted out.
President Putin, will you agree to a ceasefire?
Yeah. Welcome. Nope.
President Putin, will you stop killing civilians?
Nope. Look at that! Look at how dismissive he is of what. I mean, we assume that he's reacting to that. President Putin, will you stop killing civilians? I don't know. Maybe it's kind of fun. Look at his reaction.
President Putin, will you stop killing civilians?
Man, who knows? It's kind of fun. Trump, you should try it. I know you've got troops in the States.
President Putin, how can the U.S. trust your words?
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
You hear that alpha MAGA guy? Look at that. That's an alpha MAGA hire. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you. That's enough. Fucking beast, man. All right, talk shit all you want about our airplanes. Our fucking cars are awesome, man. If I was a hip hop star, I would have a replica of the beast. That's how I would roll into clubs. What are we seeing now? It's a different, apparently a different camera. They both just got in the back of the beast. Probably a bunch of strippers back there. You know, if I know Trump, except with Trump, they're like at this point, because he's, you know, they're like chicks that like are from the 70s and 80s that he thinks are hot. Like, hey, Vladimir, have you ever wanted to meet Cheryl Teagues? All right, I'm in the car. I don't know why I'm doing a Russian accent with Trump. I'm not good at impressions. Just flow with me, people. We're having fun here. I guess they're gonna go to wherever the hell this meeting is taking place. I mean, it's Alaska. I don't know where else there is to go. Mr. President, I'd like to see Sarah Palin's house. I want to see her view of Russia. Can't go there, Vlad. She's not nearly as hot as she used to be. What are they doing? You know what they're doing? They're doing that thing that I do. I can't get in a car and just drive away anymore. I can't. It's not something I do. I used to get in my car and within 30 seconds, I'm, you know, pulling out of my spot and I'm driving. Now, I get in my car and I now sit there for a good 5 minutes while I scroll YouTube to find something to listen to while I drive. And I think that's what's happening here. Trump's got some bootleg new Taylor Swift cuts that he wants to play for Vladimir. And he's scrolling. It's like, don't go yet. Hold on. Trump's doing that thing. You ever do that thing where you're in a car with a friend and they make you listen to their music? That's what Trump's doing. Trump is making Vlad listen to his music. All right, here they go. We found it. This is American artist. Yes, we call him Jason Aldean. I don't know who Trump likes. I imagine he's just got, you know, MAGA acceptable music on a playlist on his Spotify. All right, so we're going to be observing this today. All right, that's enough. I don't know. They're going to be driving for at least a couple of minutes, one would assume. We'll keep checking in on that. You know what? I don't want to have the sound in my head. I've got the sound in. So I'm going to turn that off. All right, you good folks in the chat room, should any developments occur, it looks like we are awaiting a joint press conference between Trump and Putin, which we will absolutely cover live. So as that occurs, we'll get into it. But in the meantime, welcome to a Friday show. I do have a question for you folks here in the chat room, my good friends, and I see them. I see Peter. I see Barney. I feel like the lady on Romper Room. I see Taranda. I see Byron. I see, you know, that's who I feel like. I have a question for you folks who listen with any regularity. And unfortunately, I don't seem to have the number that I want to ask this question to, so maybe it'll last. There we go. Number's climbing a little bit. So I drastically changed the show about a month ago. I changed times and I changed the format of what we've been doing here for the past 3 years completely. And there has been no bump. There has been no progress made. It hasn't made any difference. I'm promoting the show differently. So I guess the only question that I have is the new changes. Do you like it better? Do you like it better that I just jump in and we just start talking about whatever? Or did you prefer the way we did it for the first 3.5 years, which was, very formulaic? It had segments and quarters, and we used to mess around with all of that stuff in the beginning of the show with birthdays and all of that. I don't know if that's something you miss. I mean, maybe it's something we can do on occasion, but or is it better now? Does the show move quicker now? What's wrong with the mic? Seriously, there's a mic problem? What's the mic problem? CC can't say shit like that and then expect me to be, all right, I'm now going to wait for CC, who I trust, to tell me what he thinks is happening with the mic. Just call CC. Just call me. You have my phone number. If there's a problem with the mic, just call me. All right, Byron doesn't like the time. All right, that's thank you. That's useful information. I appreciate that. So maybe I go back to noon because the numbers were better at noon. I mean, they were significantly better at noon. The shift to the afternoon, the later time, was to see if maybe there was more people that would come. And no, that hasn't happened. There's been a couple, but, growth. This show is not. He says the mic is not on? The mic is not on? What do you mean the mic is not on? Mic check, producer Jamie. The mic is not on. Well, Peter is responding to shit I'm saying. So please, somebody else explain to me what's going on with the microphone because CC's got me all squirrely. And that's okay because today's show is brought to us by CC. CC tipped the show yesterday. CC, I don't know what you're talking about. People are responding to shit I've been saying. And you told me the mic, it sounds like laptop mic. Fuck! Okay, now that's what I need to hear. Okay, so that could be the fuck laptop mic. Oh, there we go. Oh, nice. CC, you got like, come on, man. You know what to say. I wonder why the laptop's not working. Hold on. Byron says it sounds fine. But you guys are right because the mic is not working. The mic is not connecting. Shit. All right, maybe it's on this side. Hold on. Fuck. Okay. All right, CC, is it working now? It should be. I hope it is. Please let me know. I hate these things. It totally makes sense that there was a problem. Barney says it's like I'm in a coffee can. Yeah, that's because this mic was not going through for some reason. I mean, I set the show up. I record about 3 minutes of show, and then I listen to it, and I make sure it sounds good, and I do that before every single show, and I did that today. But for some reason, I went back and checked, and yeah, you're right. The actual microphone inside the computer, it disengaged. All right, it sounds good. There it is. Thank you, CC. I appreciate you, brother. All right, I was just a little confused because everybody else was answering questions and usually more than just CC. All right, we'll move on with the show. I am waiting to see what's going to happen with the live press conference. The press conference beginning between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. They're going to talk to the press, and they're going to go talk somewhere, and then there'll be a post-meeting press conference, and I don't know what the schedule is. I'm not sure. So we'll check in on that. Right now, we're looking at an empty room. It looks like a ballroom in a fancy Alaskan hotel. It's the Todd Palin room. They're doing this. This event will be held in the Todd Palin room. All right, let's keep going. A couple of things that did happen today that I wanted to talk about that occurred before this meeting, before both world leaders landed there in Alaska this morning. For instance, the Russians are just being fucking dicks from like the beginning. They're like sending these like coded messages and all that. Like who's the guy? The president of Russia, Sergei Lavrov. He's the president of Russia. Now in Russia, the president isn't the top guy. Top guy is Putin, no matter what. You can go elect the president if you want, but I'm Putin. I'm in charge. But there is a guy like second in command. Let's call him the J.D. Vance, if you will, of Russia. Well, that's Sergei Lavrov. He was in Russia today, this morning, got there early apparently, and he was touring something as a part of some, diplomatic kind of, hey, come see the Alaskan Snowball Museum, or I don't know what they got there. So he's touring it, and guess what this son of a bitch does? This son of a bitch, Sergei Lavrov, the president of Russia, shows up wearing a CCCP sweatshirt. CCCP, Cyrillic for USSR. Well, that's not a big deal. A lot of people wear that. No, a lot of American kids wear that, ironically, as like a throwback to Cold War fashion. And it was never like fashionable. That is what the Russians, that's what the Soviets wore when they competed against us in the Olympics, jerseys that said CCCP. It is a Soviet thing. So the president of Russia shows up in Alaska this morning, and he's wearing a CCCP shirt while he tours something hours before, the president, Trump, and Putin are supposed to meet to talk about what many people think are Soviet-like behaviors between Russia and the Ukraine, right? That's the whole argument that people are worried about, that these guys have never given up on the USSR. This has been my argument forever. Putin has never forgotten the humiliation of 1991 when the Soviet world fell. Putin took advantage of the situation and he rose to the head of what is being called a free Russia, but it's not. And now he is doing exactly what he wanted to do 40 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was. He wants to rebuild the Soviet Union. Now on the world stage, he says, no, Russia's peaceful people. But everything he has done has proven that he's trying to rebuild the Soviet Union. And on this day of a peace negotiation, as what? A wink and tongue-in-cheek. The president of fucking Russia shows up in a CCCP shirt. Saying the motherfucking quiet part out loud is normal now. It's normal. Then they did something that they have never done before. That's right, the Kremlin PR office, or whatever the fuck they are, they did something that they have never done before. This is an American Western nonsense media thing. You know what they did? The Kremlin PR office released the menu that Putin would be dining on. Hold on, I think they're about ready to take the stage. They released a menu. They've never done that. That's bullshit Western stuff. You know what they ate on the plane over to discuss the situation in Ukraine? Chicken motherfucking Kiev. And the Kremlin PR wanted the whole world to know that the dude's walking around in a CCP shirt and they're eating chicken Kiev. The mind games have fucking begun. Crazy. They're incorrigible. And a lot of people are, no, Putin's our friend. Well, apparently you dummies who say that shit, you didn't live through the Cold War. You don't remember these fucking idiots. All right. Let's go back and check in on the live stream. Let's see what we got here. Oh, no, it's still an empty room. Okay, I thought they were coming in. I guess I was seeing footage from a time before. Oh, God, I just hope to God our president is, up for this, because this guy, Putin, I mean, he was the top KGB commandant. He was his whole thing, his whole training, his whole first 50 years on Earth, or whatever it was, 40 years. He was a PSYOP KGB commander. His whole thing was, how do we fuck with the West? And now he's the leader. And he's sitting in a room with Trump. And the night before, he's giving him praise. Trump is great man. I can't wait to see my old brother. Let me tell you something. His hair, and he's so handsome. That's what Putin did the night before he left. If You don't see what's happening. What is this? What are we looking at? Is this the summit? Hold on. What's going on? I am looking at the... I don't know why I don't have... Okay, so I got some... Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. They're meeting. Let's listen. All right, it looks like we've got a shitty stream and it looks like we've got shitty audio. So let's just try and bear through it.
Come on, guys.
Why is your President Trump trust your word now?
Thank you, press. 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 Everybody get out of the room. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
The fuck just happened? What is going on here? What is happening? We're watching raw live stream camera footage of the meeting between Putin and Trump. Apparently the press has just been kicked out of the room. It looked like they were assembled and seated for the press. But then the press we just saw it, the press were kicked out of or asked to leave. I don't want to be too hyperbolic. Yeah, they were asked to leave. And then, now we're back to looking at the, Todd Palin Memorial Ballroom here. Look at this guy. This guy, you think he thought he was going to be on camera today? He's functionally obese, that man right there. He is, he's probably 28. He's probably a 28-year-old. He looks a little Skimo, doesn't he? Maybe he's like Alaskan Skimo. Maybe he's just like a super... Is that a thing with Skimos? Because I like to think that like Samoans are just warm weather Skimos. And we know Samoans are all like gigantic dudes. Like, are Eskimos also dynamic dudes? Dynamic. They are, right? They're big. Eskimos are big, or are they small? Does the cold make you small or big? I don't know. Anyway, that dude looked like a Samoan mixed with a Skimo. I hooked up with a Skimo once. I did. Her name was Birgit. I'm not kidding. Met her in Iceland. She was an Icelandic party girl. She was fun. Birgit. Still Facebook friends with Birgit. But she was part Skimo. Like Bjork. Like Bjork from the Sugar Cube. She was like Skimo like that. All right, what's going on here? They're showing more video on one screen of Trump and Putin apparently taking questions. You know what? I think we can go back and watch that again. Let's see that whole thing unfold because I jumped in a little bit late. Let's watch it from the very beginning. This is, again, what we just witnessed, a very strange feed jump. Reuters is providing us this live stream. It went from a room where Trump and Putin seemed to be hanging out and getting ready to take questions to just mayhem. Let's watch. Here it is. All right, there's the jump. All right, here we go. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you very much. Let's go. Come on, guys. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Why is your President Trump trust your word now?
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Kick all these fucking savages out. Seriously, listen to this. Listen to this behavior. It's a feeding frenzy to get the soundbite that you can go viral with. This is absurd. No, we are real journalists. We are here. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourselves. You should have been kicked out for this. And I know it happens all the time, but it is kind of nice to see that there is finally a group of people who are like, if you can't fucking behave, get the fuck out. I'll never forget. This is how they need to run it. You want to know how they need to run it? When I was a little kid, every Sunday morning, I would watch the Mike Ditka show. Remember Mike Ditka, head coach of the Chicago Bears? He used to do a local Chicago show that aired every Sunday morning. It was called the Mike Ditka Show. And all of the, the Grabowskis is what, Bear fans of the time were called. They'd all show up and they'd pack this place. And then, Ditka would take questions and they'd all be like, hey, coach. And they'd all yell. And it was absolute mayhem. So what Coach did, Coach was like, we ain't doing this anymore. And they made new rules. And then all of a sudden, the Coach Mike Ditka show went from being this absolute madhouse of chaos and anarchy to like a church session. It was like he made everybody just sit there. You come in and you shut up. That was kind of like Ditka's thing. And they all had to sit there. And if you had a question, you had to line up against the wall. And then one at a time, they'd walk to a microphone and ask Coach a question, and then he would answer them. But that's maybe what they ought to do here, because this is insane. Everybody screaming questions at one time.
Everybody get out of the room!
And did you hear that one woman? There was one, and then the other one's, bunch of fucking animals.
Thank you, press.
Let's see here. Let's go back to live. Let's see where they are at live. What do we have? Do we have a live picture? All right, now we just got a freeze frame. All right, I guess this is the freeze frame of the room that we just saw. There's Labrov, this motherfucker here. He's the guy that was wearing the CCP shirts. This sumbitch. Here we go. We got Trump. I don't know who this guy is. You know who this guy is? I have no idea. There's Rubio. I don't know who this guy is. He might be somebody. He looks like he's a hardcore dude. All right, whatever. There we go. Again, we'll keep monitoring that to see if anything new happens, but not hearing anything. I'm not even hearing any sound. Hold on. Let me see. Did they just go to something? No. All right, I'm going to have to leave the sound up because that'll be the only way that I'll know. Peter says Putin probably loves it. Look at the chaos in America. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that isn't, well. All right, hold on. Before I just stream of consciousness with my answer to that, let me sort of take a moment. Yeah, well, that's because Putin doesn't have a free press. So, yeah, he does probably love it, or he probably thinks it's funny. But I still would prefer a free press. How about an orderly press? How about a press that is going to ask one question at a time and then move on, and not everybody shouting at the same time like a bunch of jackals? Adam probably has the wisest point of all. He is absolutely right when he says that the press. Oh, did I just lose? Hide chat overlay. What? What is going on? I can't control the chat room now. All right, here we go. We're going to go back to the meeting. They're back live. They've calmed everyone down. Let's watch, right?
Just go up. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, press. 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 Thank you, press.
It's just a photo op? What the fuck? How many photo ops are these guys going to do?
Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you, press.
Let's go.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you, press. Thank you.
I was promised a joint statement. I was promised that they would come out, they were going to get on stage, and there was going to be a joint statement, and then there was going to be time for press questions. What's going on here? Oh, now we've switched back to the Todd Palin Memorial Ballroom at the Wasilla Holiday Inn. Let's see what's happening. Still no sound. They're giving us no sound. All right, we're going to leave the sound on. We're going to break away from it. We don't need to waste all this time. We'll come back. Something will happen, I am sure, but the whole show will not be held hostage by this stuff. All right, let's move on. What else can we talk about here today? One of the other big stories is we've been tracking this since yesterday. Guess what? Big changes in the world of storms. That's right, Hurricane Erin. And I said that correctly. She has been upgraded. Yesterday, I told you about Tropical Storm Erin. Tropical Storm Erin has now been upgraded to a, what are we calling a hurricane. And now, yesterday, I said, I was like, hold on. Yesterday, I said, this is going to be, they're predicting possibly a Category 3, right? Category 3. And now they say, no, it's going to be a Category 4. Woo! Hurricane season. They're going to get us all excited about heavy winds blowing. Let's check it out. Let's see. Where are we? Where is, nope, no, I don't need that. Where is, yesterday we said it was in the middle of nowhere. It looked like it was really far off. Here we go. All right, here's maps. Google Maps, that's our friend. Let's take a look at the current situation involving Hurricane Erin. See where, nope, see where she's going to hit. All right, here we go. Let's look at it. So here is Hurricane Erin, right? Here it is. It's still like pretty far away. Guys, doesn't that look like the exact same spot it was yesterday? Now, I don't know much about hurricanes, having never lived in a hurricane zone, but I do have some tangential information accrued over the years of watching hurricanes. And I think that when it's slow and it's hovering over warm waters, I think that's bad. I think that's bad. And I am pretty sure that the waters here are damn warm. Maybe some of the warmest waters in the world. I don't know, between South America and the west coast of Africa. Yeah, in the Caribbean. I'm thinking those waters are like bathwater warm. So, okay, so here's what we're looking at. Here's Hurricane Erin. We're expecting her to come. She's going to hit something called the Leeward Islands. Do you know where those are? I mean, I've heard of the Leeward Islands. I'm guessing these are the Leeward Islands. Montserrat. Montserrat is like a super rich person place. You know, like we working folk, we go to like Cabo. Maybe we go to like, if we're going to go to the Caribbean, we'll go to like the Bahamas, right? Something like that. That's pretty good. No, rich people go to these places. Rich people go to Montserrat, St. Lucia. What else they got here? All right, so it's going to come through there. They're saying sometime this weekend. Where is it? Oh, did I lose it? Yeah, I lost it. Boom, got to pull out one more. There it is. Okay. So it's going to come. It's going to rip through the Leeward Islands. And then it's going to maybe glance Cuba. And then who knows? Then we don't know. I don't know. Maybe Miami. Who knows? It could break right. It could break left. Anyway, here is something that I do want to revisit from yesterday. So as is always the case with the Atlantic hurricanes, and those are the only hurricanes we have. We don't, like, how come the West Coast doesn't get hit with hurricanes? It's a different name, right? It's a tsunami. Isn't that what they call hurricane? Or no, not tsunami. A typhoon? Isn't that, or something like that? A cyclone? No. There are different names for all these things. Anyway, these all come from Africa. They all come from the west side, the west coast of Africa. They stir up here, and then they get thrown like a bowling ball right into the pins that are the Leeward Islands and the Caribbean and Florida and the east coast of the United States. That's just how hurricanes go. Sometimes they, hook a little wide and they'll find themselves in the Gulf of Mexico. Sometimes they just go straight in the gutter and they rip apart Central America and Mexico. So we've seen all different paths on these hurricanes. We don't know which way this is going to go yet, but we do anticipate that it will be striking the Leeward Islands as a Category 4 hurricane, possibly this weekend. All right. There we have it. I do want to take a moment, though, and just yesterday I made a statement that I would like to sort of amend a little bit. Yesterday, I think I said that all things bad come from Africa. I said that, yeah, of course hurricanes come from, all bad things come from Africa. I have had this position for a very long time. Now, I would like to fix that a little by saying, well, all bad things come from Africa, but that's not all the things. I mean, Africa's also got some good things. some good things come from Africa. And I felt like I needed to make that point. Look, when I say all things bad come from Africa, now I'm talking about hurricanes, right? I'm talking about AIDS, Ebola, Elon Musk. Yeah, I'm talking about all the bad things that come from a lot of bad shit starts out in Africa. I'm still super afraid of Ebola. Freaking crazy, unnecessarily and irrationally afraid of Ebola. Because like 25 years ago or something, I remember hearing about it and I watched some documentary and I'm like, this is going to end us all. And now here we are. I'm a grown-ass man and Ebola is still percolating around. Hell, we had Ebola in Dallas about 10 years ago. So yeah, a lot of bad things come from Africa, but not all things that come from Africa are bad. Now, sure, I can sit here and I can give you a list of the great things that came out of Africa, the boring stuff. Like I could tell you that we wouldn't have math if not for Africa, or astronomy, or metallurgy, or architecture, or navigation, or medicine. That's right. All of those boring fucking things came out of Africa. So do hurricanes, and so did AIDS and Ebola. It's complicated. There's a lot of stuff. So I wanted to share with you right now, as an apology, my favorite things, 5 of them, to ever come out of Africa. Here we go. Are you ready? It's hurricane season. By the way, the Leeward Islands, it should also be mentioned. That's where billionaires have their little molestation islands. That's right. I mean, I just hope to God that our world's billionaires are not inconvenienced. I certainly hope Hurricane Aaron doesn't interrupt molestation season. You wouldn't want that to happen on the islands there. All right, so here's my list of the good things that come out of Africa, okay? 5 of them. I don't know if this is in any particular order, but let's do it. All right, number 1. How about Nelson Mandela? Seems like a good dude, Nelson Mandela. I mean, it's total programming, I mean, I was never really given a choice whether or not to like or dislike Nelson Mandela. He was pretty much just put in front of me and they went, he's like a saint on earth. And we all went, yeah, okay, cool. He seems cool. Hold on. All right, sorry. They're replaying the press nonsense there. All right. So Nelson Mandela seems like a good guy, although we weren't really told any. I don't want to overturn any stones on Nelson Mandela, right? Seems like a good guy, did decades in prison fighting for something that is, just obviously unfair. So, good for him. I don't need somebody writing a book where they're like, Nelson Mandela drove a car with a bumper sticker that said no fat chicks. I don't need to know that about Nelson Mandela. So right now, number 1, good things that came out of Africa. How about the great Saint Nelson Mandela? Or Desmond Tutu. You could just either one, whatever makes you more comfortable. Desmond Tutu seems like another good dude. All right, there you go. Number 2 on my list of my 5 favorite things to come out of Africa. How about Manute Bol? Yeah, Manute Bol. Anybody interested in some Manute Bol fun facts? Well, he is the tallest player, I believe, to ever have played in the NBA. Although I thought it was Georges Marichon. I thought it was that big, ugly Washington Bullets player. But whatever, they say it's Bol. Also, fun fact about Manute Bol, my number 2 best thing to ever come out of Africa. Played every game drunk. Played every single game in NBA that he played in the NBA a little bit drunk. Yeah, he did. You know why? He did nothing but drink beer. He drank beer from the minute that he woke up to the minute he went that. Why? Because when he was in college and his coaches were like, you're definitely going to get drafted because you're 7 feet tall, but you need to put on weight. And one of the best ways to put on weight is for you to just drink copious amounts of beer. So yeah, right up until game time, he was probably 10 beers in, and that's how he played his whole career. Another Manute Bol fun fact. Did you know that he is the only player in the NBA to have retired with more block shots than points? I don't even know if that's true, but I heard it once, and I'm just going to keep reporting it whenever people talk about Manute Bol. All right, here, let's take a look at Manute, just so those of you who don't remember. He was like a cartoon character come to life. Look at him here. Is this him with Muggsy Bogues? All right, just give you an idea of how tall this dude was. There he is. There he is. Look, oh my God, that doesn't even look, that looks like AI. Look at him next to a ref. All right, number 2, Manute Bol. Oh, and by the way, I don't mean to bury the lead on Manute Bol. The reason he is number 2 is because he is one of the most unbelievable humanitarians. Do you know he gave away all the money? He made a lot of money in the NBA, gave it all away to the people in his village there in Africa who were like starving and civil war. And he is a dude, Manute Bol. Number 2 on my list. The greatest things to ever come out of Africa. All right, this brings us to number 3. Charlize Theron. I love Charlize Theron. I love, oh, what? Oh, it's got to be black? What are you, a racist? She's African. She's African-American. She is. Charlize Theron. She comes from Africa. She came here. She's a delightful woman. She just seems like a wonderful woman. Charlize Theron is number 3 on my list of favorite things to ever come out of Africa. All right, number 4. Now, this is a real one. This is something that, let me play this for you. This is number 4, Sol Makusa. Sol Makusa, my list of favorite things to ever come out of Africa. What is Sol Makusa? Well, Sol Makusa is a Cameroonian song, like, middle of Africa there. A Cameroonian tribal club song. Are you ready for this? From 1972. I don't know what you think club music in Africa was like in 1972. You probably thought there was no club music in Africa in 1972. Folks, I present to you my number 4 best thing to come out of Africa, one of the most influential songs of all time. Sol Makusa from Cameroon. One of the most sampled songs of all time. You're going to know it instantly, and we're going to watch the video because it's so freaking awesome. Here we go, Sol Makusa. 1972. Just share this with you, okay? So maybe, obviously, you know this. Michael Jackson famously sampled this on his greatest song ever. This is the basis for almost all Chicago house music. This is the song that laid the basis. You talk about guys like Frankie Knuckles, he will tell you this is the song. It was borrowed from 1972. It was never a hit in America, of course not. It was a club thing. They had clubs in the middle of Africa. I know we think they all run around with spears with bones through their nose, but no. Incredibly influential in disco production as well. Now I got to stop the video here because I don't know what the fuck is happening now. I don't know. Is this a man in a dress? Is this some kind of traditional cultural outfit he's wearing? This appears to be some form of authority figure. Maybe it's some kind of Cameroonian police official. I don't know. This is a person in a dress. Let's watch what happens here. Nope, not yet. Hold on. Here we go. Nope. 2, 3. Whoa, whoa. Hold on. Oh, here it comes. Ah. Oh, yeah, they're just running around with fucking spears and fighting lions. No, they're making some legendary music. Globally influential music. There you go. Sol Makusa, my number 4. Number 4, best thing to come out of Africa. All right, number 5, the last one. Okay, here we go. This is the last one, and this is probably the one that resonates the most with me. Best things to come out of Africa. Sexy, confident black women. Sexy, confident black women. I'm not talking about the ones I was afraid to sit next to on the CTA buses when I was a kid. No, they're the scary ones. No, I am talking about sexy, confident black women who will tell you, I just love that. It's been my kryptonite forever. Like who? Like who's the chick on Scandal? Like, you ever seen that show Scandal? Kerry Washington. Oh my God, is she sexy? Just because she's such a fucking take no nonsense. I don't fucking, I love that. And it seems to be a common thread among successful, highly educated, because it's almost always like, well, I've got my master's. I love that. It's so hot. Let me give you an example of that out in the wild. We did this on Shock House the other day. The other day we did Shock House Radio with me, CC, and Keith. You can check it out. Just go to Radio Misfits. No, I don't think it's Radio Misfits. I think it's Pugs and Company. There you go. We talked about Miss Williams. I've been thinking about Miss Williams since I discovered her. Miss Williams is a teacher. Miss Williams is a teacher in the Houston school district, some Houston high schools, whatever. And Miss Williams is an example of my number one reason, best things to come out of Africa. Let me find you for her. Here we go. Miss Williams. Where do you see Miss Williams? Hold on. She's a teacher. Ain't no boys studying in Miss Williams' class. Hold on. There she is. Hold on.
My baddie.
I think the subject on this video is when your teachers obey. Here's Miss Williams.
Teacher Bay neighbor.
Oh, she looks like a lion. She's got like that lioness. Oh, man. I am troubled by the big ass. I am still a boy from the 80s. I still like a tight little firm ass and designer jeans. I'm a little thrown by this new acceptance of the giant fat butt. But let me tell you something. Everything else about this woman, unbelievable. Wait till you see her smile. Her smile is like, oh my God.
Oh.
Oh my God, look at that smile. She's so cute. Anyway, there you go. The number one thing that I like most that have come out of Africa. Confident, sexy, black African women, African-American women. All right, what else? Anything else we need to? We're just filling time, honestly, before we get to this Trump-Putin thing. Texas, here, we do the show here from Texas. We got some new laws that are coming into effect on September the 1st. A lot of them are going to specifically affect our schools, right? I think the most notable one is the 10 Commandments thing. I got a list of new laws that are going into effect on September the 1st, and our kids, especially if they're in school here in Texas, they're just going to have to get used to these being new ways of doing things. The first one, and it's the most polarizing, certainly, it's the one that gets talked about the most, and that is the requirement that schools must display, or teachers, this is what's bullshit. It's not that schools or school districts must display the 10 Commandments in classrooms, okay? It's that teachers must display the 10 Commandments. Now, why is it worded that way? It's worded that way because the religious influence down there in Texas wanted to get that passed, and they knew they could get it passed, but what they didn't have was any way to fund it. Nobody was going to, they'll pass your stupid little religious purity test. Fine, we'll make all these kids stare at the 10 Commandments, even if they're not Christian, whatever, we'll let you do it. We'll rubber stamp it because we're the Texas Republican Party, and we are bought and paid for. Well, you're probably going to need to raise some taxes or find a revenue stream to be able to fund this so that every school classroom can have a framed copy of the 10 Commandments. And you know what they said? They said, nah, fuck that. Let's make the teachers do it. So yeah, it is a state law. You are breaking the law here in Texas if you are a teacher and you do not have the 10 Commandments framed and posted somewhere in your classroom. You're breaking the law if you don't do it. You got to go out and you got to buy it. Now, what's happening here is there are a whole bunch of these churches are getting together, and all a teacher's got to do is go to her local church, and we'll give her a beautiful framed copy of it, no free of charge. And that's fine, but that's not happening everywhere. All right, every school in Texas doesn't have some church that is going to pay for, I don't know how many copies of the 10. That's a fucking nonsense law. That should irritate the shit out of you. They are putting this on teachers to have to go out and buy this additionally. Oh, what do we got? Is it starting? Hold on, wait a second. There are more laws. No, it's not starting yet. All right. So wait, more laws. All right. That's the first one. That's the 10 Commandments law. Not only is it just outrageously un-American, but it's fucking putting an undue burden on teachers now that they've never had in the past. Okay. Where are we? New laws. Number 2. That is the Senate Bill number 10, the 10 Commandments Act. All right. Here's the second one that's going to go into effect. It's going to affect our schools. Tell me how you think about this. Classroom cell phone ban. That's right. Here in Texas, there is now a ban on cell phones in classrooms, which I always go back to don't take my kid's phone. I don't want any teachers taking you got to store your phone here. No, phones these days are like $1,500. How about this? How about my son's not allowed to use his phone in class? Well, we find that doesn't always work with students, that they'll just do it anyway. No, it'll work with my kid. My kid won't fucking use his phone. If the rule is that he's going to get in trouble for using his phone, he's not going to pull it out. Now, if you have other students in your classrooms that are like, fuck this, I'm going to use my phone. Well, then the problem is much bigger than just simply the phones, okay? Maybe we need a special school for kids that can't behave. But there are plenty of fucking kids out there who can behave. They'll put their phone down if they have to in class, especially if it means they'll get in trouble and mom will get called. My kid ain't afraid of me. My kid's afraid of mom, which is the way it should be. Honestly, it's the way it should be. All right, this is House Bill 1481, classroom cell phone ban. It says, for the education system, blah, blah, blah. This is a major move, a classroom cell phone ban. The law does not create a formulaic structure for school districts to follow. Of course it doesn't. Just like the first one didn't provide any kind of funding for teachers, it's just on them to participate in what is clearly a draconian religious law. The 10 Commandments bullshit. Now, this one as well, the cell phone ban, they just passed the law that went, hey, cell phones not in class. And now the schools are left like, all right, well, what does that fucking mean? What are we supposed to do? They have no structure. They have created no formulaic structure for school districts to follow, but it does require schools to have some sort of cell phone ban in place. The Dallas Independent School District has introduced magnetically locked cell phone pouches, and students must turn in their cell phones at the beginning of each school day. See, no, fuck that. No, if I need to get a hold of my son, and look, I am a responsible adult. I'm not going to be blowing up my kid's phone in 5th period. I got shit to do. I'm glad that my kid is in school for those few hours. But if on the off chance that I need to reach my son for some kind of family emergency or something like that, no. Now, his phone is not going to be in some lead pouch in the principal's office with like a million other ones. How soon before he gets the wrong phone? He's like, this ain't my phone. No, this is stupid, okay? Again, maybe if there were more defined disciplinary repercussions for students saying, I'm going to use my phone anyway, maybe that's what we need to address. How we handle those students, not just with a wide swath going, all students can't be trusted with phones. Shut up. Not all kids are awful. All right, so there you go. Classroom cell phone ban. All the state said was, hey, schools, handle it. Which, okay. Here's a good one. I love this one. Not, again, I keep saying, man, even a blind squirrel, every once in a while, will get themselves a nut. House Bill 748 goes into effect on September 1st. This is called Trey's Law. Trey's Law. Anytime there's a law named after a person, it's almost always a kid, right? So let's learn about Trey's Law, which goes into effect here in Texas on September the 1st. It says, Trey's Law, originally filed by Representative Jeff Leach, has ties to Highland Park. Oh, well, look at that. Fancy. A fancy law for rich people. This law says that rich people no longer need to make eye contact with poor people ever. And they will not be called rude for it. Trey's Law, originally filed by Rep. Jeff Leach, has ties to Highland Park. The law which disallows, this is important. Trey's Law disallows non-disclosure agreements in civil settlements for sexual abuse cases. Fuck yeah, Trey's Law. We got one. We got a winner. We got one that I can't believe hasn't already been a law for 50 years. What this means is that when a rich guy diddles a kid, he can't go to that kid and say, hey, kid, don't go to the police. I'll give you $1 million. And here, you just sign this contract that says you can't ever talk about me diddling. So Trey's Law now says, yeah, those fucking non-disclosures aren't real. Kid gets to keep the money, and he can tell anybody he wants who molested him, which is the way it should be. I mean, that's how rich people, that's how, the Jeffrey Epstein network kind of went around. They would just, pay off their victims, and then suddenly there'd be a non-disclosure attached to a large amount of money, and, these pedophiles are allowed to do it to the next one. So, okay, those are 3. There you go. The Trey's Law, that's the only one that I can really get behind. The cell phone ban, I understand, but I wish they had a more well-drawn-out and defined way to institute that one. I do think cell phones in class are a problem, but I don't know about taking kids' cell phones away from them is necessarily the best way. And the 10 Commandments thing is just fucking nonsense. It's incredibly embarrassing, and it's one of the things that, just embarrassing. Okay. There you go. Those are the new laws that are hitting Texas. We are still awaiting some kind of, I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? Are they playing pickleball there in the, the rec area of the Wasilla Holiday Inn? I bet it's a holodome. I bet right now that's why they've just settled into their rooms, and now they're meeting down in the enclosed swimming pool. It's Alaska. I know it's August, and they could probably be outside, but it is still Alaska, so I don't know what the temperature is there. But yeah, they're just right now. They're like cannonballing into the holodome swimming pool there, where this situation is taking place. All right, let's see. What else do I have to talk about here? New Texas laws. We got that one. Oh, here's one. All right, this is a fun one. So remember a couple of days ago when Trump did his whole here at the Kennedy Center, and he named George Strait, which, yeah, I guess, Michael Crawford. Yeah, I mean, I can totally see it. George Strait and Michael Crawford, they seem like kind of people who should get Kennedy Center honors. And then he gave one to Kiss. It's like, Kiss? Really? And then it turned out, I guess nobody told Trump that, like, Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley fucking hate Trump. So they probably didn't know that, because, there's no way. And then Gloria Gaynor, she's like the lady who's saying, I will survive. Look, she's not Aretha Franklin, okay? Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, those are the kinds of people who get Kennedy Center honored. Not Gloria Gaynor. She's like a one-hit disco queen who I am absolutely certain Trump just thinks that song's a banger. And that's it. That's the only reason that Gloria fucking Gaynor. You know what this is like? All right, so imagine this. Imagine there's a president in 20, 30 years from now, and he does the same thing as Trump, and he just decides that, it's time to give Chumbawamba a Kennedy Center honors because he likes the song, I Get Knocked Down, and I Get Up Again, and Never Got It. That's how absurd Gloria Gaynor getting a Kennedy Center honor is. But okay, whatever. He likes it. He's like, I just want to make sure there's at least one song I like. I mean, I don't see Trump, Detroit Rock City. I don't see him into that. I see him into, doing the jack off dance. I see him into that too. I will survive. I will survive. All right. Anyway, we told you about that a couple of days ago. Did you know there was somebody who was asked by the White House to be honored this year at the Kennedy Center, and this person said, nope, too busy. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Cruise turned down. So I forgot Sylvester Stallone was also mentioned, which I get. Sylvester Stallone deserves it. Tom Cruise, though, turned it down. Trump wanted Maverick on stage. That's yes, that's it. He doesn't, he's the guy from Top Gun. He wanted Maverick on stage. And Tom Cruise, according to reports, again, this is a Kennedy Center honor. Nobody in the history of the arts and culture Nobody has ever turned down the Kennedy Center honor. If you're getting married on the day you're set to be honored at the Kennedy Center by the President of the United States, if you're getting married on that day, you change your wedding day. This is like being knighted in England, okay? This is our version of that, right? Tom Cruise said he was busy. He was attending Tom Cruise is going to be in some film festival in San Jose. That's what Tom Cruise's people said was the reason that he turned the White House down. So, for me, I just think it's funny. I think Tom Cruise is a weirdo. But some of you may have been looking for a new reason to hate Tom Cruise, and now you got it. Some of you, maybe this is a reason for you to like Tom Cruise. But, certain MAGA is not going to be happy about this. All right, so to that end, I also made another list. That's right. It's been a morning of me making lists about things. I don't like Tom Cruise. And it's a complicated not liking of Tom Cruise because I like a lot of Tom Cruise movies. I do. I like a lot of Tom Cruise movies. And I will die. I will die saying that his greatest role was in, what was that movie? It was a movie where Robert Downey Jr. played Don Cheadle. What was that movie? Robert Downey Jr. literally made a movie where he played Don Cheadle. I mean, most people are like, hey, Don Cheadle was great in that movie. I'm like, no, it's Robert Downey Jr. playing Don Cheadle. I forgot that movie. Anyway, Tom Cruise was great in it. I keep wanting to say like Pineapple Express. It's not Pineapple Express. It's doesn't matter. I like Tom Cruise movies. I love Top Gun. I love Top Gun Maverick. It's Tom Cruise who I'm a little bit. So I made a list. Here are my 5 reasons that I dislike Tom Cruise. Are you ready? We'll run through them. Now, you may have a new one because he turned the president down and doesn't want to receive a Kennedy Center honor from the President Trump. All right, that might be a new reason. Here are my well-established reasons for not liking Tom Cruise. Number 1, Scientology is just fucking weird, y'all. It's just weird, and he's way too into it, and it suggests a person, like people who get that deep into Scientology, I don't think they're real human beings. And I think Tom Cruise being an actor, and this has been something that has been levied against him for years and years, it is that Tom Cruise doesn't know who he is. Tom Cruise has been incredibly good at turning himself into an absolute blank white piece of vanilla paper. And he then becomes the personality of whatever the character is that he plays. Now, what I find interesting about that explanation, why does Tom Cruise always play the same character? He plays the same fucking character in every movie. And people are like, no, that's just his acting style. He's able to. Anyway, apparently in real life, Tom Cruise doesn't really know who he is. And he'll just behave. If you meet Tom Cruise, like let's say you're showing up to Tom Cruise's house to help him install his new flat screen TV, and you meet him, Tom Cruise will most likely be in character from whatever his most recent role is. That has always been the knock on Tom Cruise as a human being. So that kind of, uncomfortableness with who you truly are as a human, might lead you to believe nonsense like Scientology. So he's a weirdo. You don't know who he is. Something strange there. All that said, trade places with Tom Cruise in a minute. You fucking kidding me? Look, I'm a weirdo without the box office numbers. I got my own problems. All right, that's number 1. Scientology thing. I just can't get into it. It's not even that I can't get into it. It's more than that. It's that I can't even fathom what someone who is into it must be like. All right, there you go. There's number 1. Number 2 reason why I can't like Tom Cruise. Dude couldn't make it work with Katie Holmes. This dude couldn't make it work with Katie Holmes. Now, he had been with Mimi Rogers. He was with Mimi Rogers when he was young. She was like a cougar, but she was hot. She was like, Mimi Rogers was like in the 1980s. She did like a whole bunch of like Spank It movies on Cinemax and stuff. She was pretty. She wasn't like traditionally Hollywood pretty, but she had like giant jugs, right? And she was always in like, naughty after 11 o'clock on cable movies. And then young Tom Cruise, this is, outsiders, risky business Tom Cruise. He ends up marrying Mimi Rogers. And it's like, oh, what's this young guy marrying this much older woman? I understand why he couldn't make it work with Mimi Rogers. As it turns out, Mimi Rogers is the one who introduced him to Scientology, which means Tom Cruise may have been normal before her, but he met her and she's so weird, you get the point. He moved on from Mimi Rogers to Nicole Kidman. Now, Nicole Kidman, I completely get. I get why you can't make it work with Nicole Kidman. She seems like the quintessential actress. She seems very difficult, very high maintenance, very much always looking for an excuse to emote. I overslept this morning. I wanted to wake up at 8:45 and make it to the Pilates class, but I overslept by 5 minutes. I hate that. Those are actresses. They're always looking for a reason to tap into an emotional side that I haven't reached yet. And this, you yelling at me, I'm not yelling at you, baby. No, you're yelling at me. But that's what fucking life with an actress is. So I get why he couldn't make it work with Nicole Kidman. But this brings us to Katie Holmes. This fucking guy was so ruined by Mimi Rogers and Nicole Kidman. He had no idea what he had in front of him with Katie Holmes, and he blew it. He blew it, being a weirdo. All right, there you go. That's reason 3. Or wait, no, reason 2. It's reason 2 why I don't believe Tom Cruise is a good person, or why I dislike Tom Cruise. All right, number 3, here we go. I think there are multiple Tom Cruises. Everybody knows I have this very well thought out and deeply investigated position that I believe there is a Hollywood clone factory, where I think that there are a whole bunch of people who are actors and who are famous, who are just variations of the same actor just a couple of decades before. Hard to explain. You have to listen to the show for a long time to understand what special variety of insane I am to know what I mean when I say the Hollywood clone factory. But Tom Cruise is absolutely I don't know if he's the first. But there were a whole bunch of Tom Cruise clone models, okay? Charlie Sheen was an early one. Charlie Sheen, they didn't know what they were going to do. They looked at the cast of The Outsiders and they went Emilio Estevez, Patrick Swayze, C. Thomas Howell, Matt Dillon, Rob Lowe, right? They didn't know what Tom Cruise. So what they did was they kind of made a hybrid Tom Cruise, Emilio Estevez, and they called it Charlie Sheen. So we had that one. Then explain to me Skeet Ulrich. You remember Skeet Ulrich? Skeet Ulrich was an actor in like the 90s. They tried to shove him down our throats. He looked exactly like Tom Cruise did when Tom Cruise was 10 years younger. And then they discontinued the Skeet Ulrich. There's another guy, there's another actor that you see everywhere, but he's not a famous actor. He just gets a lot of work. He pops up on every TV show. And I know this because every time he pops up on a TV show, I go, that's the fucking guy who looks exactly like Tom Cruise. And that guy. So I just don't think that there's, I think there's something going on with Tom Cruise. Let me give you some visual proof, okay? Here are some pictures of Tom Cruise taken over the years. I don't think he's the same guy. I think that there's a whole bunch now. Of course, I know aging and all that, but no, this is different than just aging. This is like completely different jaw lines. Here we go. Many Tom Cruises. All right, now this one isn't like 2021 Tom Cruise is not 2016 Tom Cruise. 2022 Tom Cruise might be 2016 Tom Cruise, but they moved in some other guy. This is like Tom Cruise if he never left Ohio and was selling tires in Akron. I think that's Tom Cruise. Some more Tom Cruise. All right, well, this might have been a medical thing. I mean, do you remember when Tom Cruise looked this way? I think we first noticed it at a baseball game. There was a World Series baseball game, and Tom Cruise was there, and the camera showed him, and they said, Tom Cruise is in attendance, and everyone in America went, that's not Tom Cruise. But it turned out it was Tom Cruise. It just didn't look like him. And it's just aging. All right, so maybe these aren't great. Maybe these aren't great examples of, all right, that's just aging. Look at this, though. Can I just look at this? Can you look at this? I mean, as a heterosexual man, can't you look at this and go, holy fuck, what I wouldn't give to have this for one weekend. Just 1 weekend. Let me be this for 1 weekend, God. That's all I need. Give me it for 1 weekend. All right, 1 weekend at spring break. Yes, give me this. 1 weekend at spring break. 1987. Let's say 1987. Just 1 weekend, God, let me be this. All right. There you go. There's one of my, it's another. Another reason that I don't like Tom Cruise. Another reason to not trust Tom Cruise. All right, that's number 3. Number 4, my number 4 reason that I don't like Tom Cruise. Rob Lowe says he was kind of a prick. No, I know what you're saying. Look, Rob Lowe, first of all, let's establish something. I love Rob Lowe. I love Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe is cool. Rob Lowe is smart. Rob Lowe seems very grounded and not affected. Like he'll talk to you about stuff. He's also very smart. That's the other thing, very articulate and seemingly, vast with knowledge of all different subjects. So Rob Lowe does a lot of podcasts. He sits and he talks with people and he talks at length about, his life and career, which is fascinating. Rob Lowe has such a cool career. Well, Rob Lowe back in the day, he was friends with Tom Cruise. They were all buddies. They all hung out together. They were all like 1980. They were doing every young teen male movie together, whether it was Taps, The Outsiders, Rumblefish. They all did these movies together. They were all buddies. And Rob Lowe, still to this day, Rob Lowe always says shit like, Tommy, I love Tom. Tom is one of my best friends. I love Tom. Rob Lowe always goes on podcasts and says that. Tommy. Oh, you want a Tommy story? Oh, I got a Tommy story. All right. First of all, Tom and I, we go back. Oh my God. I think we first met. We were 7. I was 17. He was 18. He's one of my favorite people on earth. Rob Lowe always does that and then follows it with a story that is the most unflattering Tom Cruise story. Like it goes something like this. It's like, we want a Tom Cruise story? I'm Rob Lowe. All right. First of all, Tommy and I, we go way back. We've been friends since we were kids. There are very few people on this planet that I love more than Tom Cruise. Okay, here's a good one. We were in New York. We were filming The Outsiders, and Tom was upset because everybody else had to share rooms, and he didn't have to share a room, but he didn't have a suite. And so that's fucking flipped Tom out. Tom got really mad and he trashed the hotel room so that they had to move him to a suite. And he stormed out of the hotel and he went down behind in the alley and I went chasing after him because, we're such good friends. And I'm like, hey, Tom, what happened? What are you mad about? And he's like, I'm not really mad. I just killed this homeless person. Will you help me put it in a dumpster? That's the Tom I know. Seriously, every Tom Cruise story that Rob Lowe tells is a bad Tom Cruise story. And it always prefaced it with, I love Tom. Tom and I are best friends. I remember the first time he killed a homeless person. I love Tom. He came over to my house. He left his car in my driveway. He was filming, I don't know what it was. I think it was Tropic Thunder. That's the movie, by the way. He's filming Tropic Thunder. He left his car in my driveway, and I started to notice something smells. Turns out he's got 3 dead prostitutes in there. Tom Cruise. Every story Rob Lowe tells about Tom Cruise is a coded story where Rob Lowe is saying he's the most powerful guy in Hollywood. I've known him forever, but I fucking hate him. That's reason 4. It's reason 4 for me not liking Tom Cruise. And reason 5 is just really simple, and it's been, firmly set in place for about 25 years now. Tom Cruise and his involvement in Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut. Fuck you, Tom. Fuck you, Tom, and your stupid wife and all of the problems that you created. Eyes Wide Shut is, in my opinion, oh man, I always go back and forth on this. Stanley Kubrick's worst film. I love Stanley Kubrick. He is my favorite filmmaker of all time. Stanley Kubrick's got 2 films that are absolute dogs. One is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Hate it. I know. How can you be a Kubrick fan and not like it? Well, because I'm not pretentious and only pretending to like Kubrick. I actually like Kubrick, and that movie is unwatchable. I'm sorry. 2001 is unwatchable. But there are some really cool aspects to it, which I cannot say about Eyes Wide Shut, which Stanley Kubrick made, I think it's his last movie, maybe, made with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. It was just absolute garbage. I, of course, went and saw it in a theater because it was Kubrick, and I was like, this sucks. This is the worst. There you go. There's 5 reasons. Tom Cruise told the Trump administration that he was busy and he couldn't accept their Kennedy Center honors, so if that's a reason for you to dislike Tom Cruise, I just gave you 5 more. All right. Oh, here's some fun stuff. Hey, this is fun. Let's watch this. Check this out. We're just going to watch a little news. This is from yesterday, the sports world. We're going to go to Atlanta Falcons training camp. You're going to let us show this? They're going to give us a commercial? Oh, they're probably totally going to give us a commercial. Yep.
Well, during the Falcons' joint practice today with the Tennessee Titans, a scuffle was made that involved quarterback Michael Penix completing a long pass to Ray McLeod. Both teams were mouthing off to each other. Then afterwards, things got physical. Ending with Penix in the middle of the pile. Drake London had to be pulled away. Many came to Penix's aid, who left, thankfully, uninjured. After practice, he gave his side of the story.
Competitive, threw a deep pass. They had a lot of words throughout practice, so I gave my words and just went a little bit too far.
Did you catch it? Because I think I fucked it up. I think hold on. Yeah, good job, asshole. I just totally fucked that up. Yeah, they mislabeled his name. They called him Michael Penis Jr. Now, I've got a theory on this. So please stop with the noises. All right, let's see that one more time. And then I'll try and pause it appropriately, but they'll probably make us watch another fucking commercial again. But that's okay, because I'm not going to fall victim to it. We're going to play the commercial before we share the screen. All right. All right, here we go.
Well, during the Falcons' joint practice
Here you go.
today
One more
with the
time.
Tennessee Titans, a scuffle was made that involved quarterback Michael Penix.
Do you notice how he said his name weird there? It's like okay, so just make a note of that. He just said there, which involved quarterback Michael Penix.
Completing a long pass
One
to
more
Ray
time.
McLeod. Both teams were mouthing off. Completing a Tennessee Titans, a scuffle was made that involved quarterback Michael Penix. Completing a long pass to Ray McLeod.
Kind of a heavy accent on the name, like he wanted to make sure that he said Penix correctly.
McLeod. Both teams were mouthing off to each other. Then afterwards, things got physical. Ending with Penix in the middle of the pile. Drake London had to be pulled away. Many came to Penix's aid, who left, thankfully, uninjured. After practice, he gave his side.
All right, here he goes. Here's Michael Penix Jr.
Competitive, threw a deep.
Okay. Okay. You see the problem? Now, I don't know how this is a big problem. Penix and penis aren't really all that similar. But if you look at a keyboard, the S and the X, right? They're very close. Like, I'm sure that the excuse for this, you remember, I'm calling this an excuse at this point. Remember, I told you to put a red flag in the weird way he said his name at the beginning? All right. I think this is a work. I think this is a viral work on behalf of WTOC, whatever station this is. Obviously, Michael Penis Jr. is not his name. His name's not Michael Penis Jr. It's Michael Penix Jr. And, of course, we all know that. As I just stated, the X and the S are very close on the keyboard. So this is a mistake that could be made. I do not believe it's a mistake. I believe that this was done intentionally. I believe this was done intentionally by WTOC to get some sort of viral traction going, because they knew that people like me would do this. And it went around yesterday. I don't believe this is a mistake. I don't believe, look, here, you can believe that the issue is that the S is close to the X. You can believe that if you think that they put these Kodachromes up on TV with personal cell phones. Because that's when we have the problem with, the numbers being too close to each other and my fat thumbs and all of that. No, this was done at a computer with a professional producer who was producing the elements for this newscast. This is not a mistake that happens. This is not done accidentally. This was done as a fucking viral stir. Another reason that I think is because of the way this announcer says Michael Penix's name in the beginning. He makes a real effort to make sure he says Penix, like he's accidentally about to say penis. This has never been a problem with Michael Penix before. Let's listen.
Today with the Tennessee Titans, a scuffle was made that involved quarterback Michael Penix.
Michael Penix. This fucking guy knew that it was going to say Michael Penis, is my point. All right, there you go. You've been worked. It's not an accident. It's not a funny little it was a mistake because of fat thumbs. No, these are professional people, okay? Fat thumb mistakes don't happen. It's Atlanta, for fuck's sake. It's a major market. No way. No. And I got to be honest, I might have been like, well, maybe it was an intern who didn't know what they were doing. I might have been like that had that announcer not said Michael Penix's name in the way he said Michael Penix's name. The fight occurred between Atlanta quarterback Michael Penix. Like, he makes sure I might say penis. Well, how do you know that's a problem if you don't know that Dakota Crumb coming up is already going to say penis? It was done on purpose. It is another example of how the media at every turn lies to us in order to manipulate us, in order to get the proper serotonin response that we will react to. All right, let's go back to Trump. Let's go see what's happening here. Is something happening? It looks like the camera just came back on. They turned the camera black for a while. And now they're back to showing the empty ballroom there at the Wasilla Holodome, the Todd Palin Memorial Ballroom, where this press conference is being handled. Right now, Trump and Putin are in a hot tub there at a Holodome. And they're having a talk. You know, they're just in, but they don't, it's not just them. There's also some family. There's a family of little kids, jumping and splashing in the pool. And it's Trump and Putin in the hot tub, but there's, kids from Oregon who are on, late summer vacation or something. All right. Doesn't look like anything's happening here. Doesn't look like we got anything going on. What else do I have for you today? You want to watch a creepy video? And I don't know if it's a creepy video because I've seen some people like, I love this video. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of creeped out by it. This video kind of strikes me weird. It's an AI video. And it was going around. I think I shared it earlier in the week, but I've been just looking at it and watching it. And I'm like, why does this make me feel so creepy? So the premise of this AI video, and it's one of these AI videos that actually looks like the real, you know what I mean? It's like, is that real? Your aunt would ask you, is that real? I don't know. It's AI. Okay. The premise of this video is that we're time travelers. And we're returning to, I think the year they say here is 1985 or something. And we're reporting back. It's a weird video. Let's just watch this video. It's kind of creepy. All right, here you go. Found this on one of my Gen X sites. Gen X is very divided over this video. A great many more than one would expect are on my side. They were like, that's kind of weird. I don't know if I like that. All right, here you go. Let's watch this video. And we'll get your vibes on it. All right, I got to stop sharing that one. Sorry. I know we've been jumping around screens today more than we usually do. I apologize. All right, here you go. All right, watch this video, this weird ass AI video that supposedly transforms us back to the mid 80s. All right, first of all, appreciate the bikes. Those are absolutely 1980s bikes. Those are both Schwinn. They look like they might be scramblers. I don't know what those are. Those are they definitely look like Schwinns. They've got a couple custom parts. These are not the off the rack forks. These are different forks. And no V-neck. Just got the crossbar. I had the V-neck. I had the cool ass V-neck on mine. Haircuts, check out. Yeah, those are definitely 1985 teenager haircuts. Certainly the Canadian tuxedo being worn. That is something. The Canadian tuxedo is the jean jacket with blue jean bottoms. All right, let's just watch this uninterrupted.
You made it back. How's 2025? I heard no one talks face-to-face anymore and everything's lived through something called social media.
I heard people don't even know their neighbors anymore. They don't knock on doors, they just talk through something called Instagram.
What the hell is Instagram?
I heard in the future, no one even goes outside anymore. Everyone just stares at screens all day.
Man, that's messed up. Dude, it's 1985 and the release of the film DHG Goonies. Forget 2025 and come here, we want you here.
Yeah, we want you here, we got your ticket, man. It'll be awesome if you could come back.
Dude, go back to 1985. I know 2025 is bad.
Is that supposed to be Marty McFly? Because it seems to me like they could have made a likeness. This is AI. It could have looked more like Michael J. Fox.
As soon as I finish here, I'll come get you. Man, come to 1985. I miss you. I heard that 2025 is very complicated. I'm sorry about that.
That dude's dead. He OD'd in 94 backstage at an Anthrax concert.
Grandson, go back to 1985.
Grandma's dead too.
Your gift is
Man, come to 1985. I miss you. I heard that 2025 is very complicated. I'm sorry about that.
my grandson. Go back to 1985. Your gift has been under this tree for 40 years. Come here to get it.
Hey, you there in 2025? Come to 1987.
I'm sorry, the world is like this in 2025.
Hey, you there in 2020 Station 5? Forget the PlayStation 5 and come play arcade with us.
Let me just tell you something straight out, okay? Yes, they look like Gen Xers in 1985, 86, 87, right? They look good. They don't talk like us. This is not this kind of, hey, welcome back. That was not the Gen X vibe. The Gen X vibe was just, don't fucking talk to me. Keep your head down. What are you, a space guy from the future? Okay, cool, dude. Just fucking, oh, you're so weird. That was the Gen X vibe. These people all have these like Gen Z vibes. Let's talk.
It's sad to know the world got bad in 2025.
The world didn't get bad. The world has always been bad. What the fuck is this? 1985, we were living under the specter of the Soviet Union dropping nuclear bombs on us any minute. AIDS was everywhere. Let's talk about 1985, shall we? Because it's so great compared to now. Let me tell you something, people. I'm done with this. It's just such a weird video. You get it. You get what that video is. Let me explain to you something that you all know. So forgive me. When people say the good old days, they're fucking lying to you. There has never been a time in the history of humanity where somebody went, you know what? These are the good times. These times right here. This video is trying to make it seem like 1985, 1986, 1987 was the good times. We were still in a Cold War. We didn't have sex. My entire generation wasn't allowed to have sex because of fucking AIDS. It was everywhere. Oh, wait a second. Hold on, I got plugged in. Boop. There we go. That's fixed. We had AIDS everywhere. We had serial killers. Fucking serial killer. We were lousy with serial killers in the 1980s. They were they were everywhere. We had no internet. Okay, so I know that that's one thing from that. We had no internet. So we did actually have to talk to each other. And you know what that meant? That meant that we had to really dislike one another. We had to really dislike each other and then hang around with the people that we disliked. And you know what that caused? A lot of agita, a lot of anxiety. It was horrible. You kids today can find out you hate someone and then just X out of whatever fucking window you're talking to them in. Not us. I had to live next door to that fucking asshole for 12 years. This idea that, oh, it was better then. It was never better then, okay? It was never better. The 80s. Oh, it was so great in the 80s. No, what was great is that you were 16. That's the only thing that was great about the 1980s. It's the only thing. I still don't know what's going on with the president here. I mean, how long am I supposed to wait for these two? I guess they're talking in the hot tub there at the Wasilla Holodome. And the camera is still trained on the something happening? The Todd Palin Memorial Ballroom, which is weird because I think Todd Palin's still alive. Guys, I'm out of show. That's it. I thought a lot of this show was just going to be us covering the Putin thing, but there is nothing. We apparently turned on or timed out the show at exactly the moment when nothing was going to happen. No, that's not true. That's not true. We timed the show perfectly. They were meeting. As soon as we signed on, they met. We saw that, so that's good. What are you doing this weekend? Hey, Superman's out. That's right. Superman's out on you can stream it now. I saw that Superman was released for on my Amazon. They're like, hey, you can watch Superman. I'm like, it was just in the movies a week ago. Isn't it still at the theaters? They only stay at theater. All right, here's another thing about the 80s. Back in the 80s, like we had video stores. Sure, video stores were great. But if you saw a movie, like the big movie, let's say, what's a good 80s movie that I could use as an example? Dirty Dancing. All right, you saw Dirty Dancing in March, right? You saw Dirty Dancing in March. You would have to wait. If first of all, for it to come out on video, you'd have to wait like at least a year. So it would be like another year before you could see it on video. And then for it to be on cable, that was like 2 years. It was like you'd have to wait 2 years for a movie that was at the theaters to be on video. Not now. Superman just debuted like 3 weeks ago, and it's already available to stream. Nice. That's a nice. Here's the problem. So I saw that it was available to stream, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is my opportunity. Maybe, I didn't make it to the movies to see my all-time favorite superhero new movie. I love Superman. Everybody knows I love Superman. My son doesn't like that I love Superman. But now my son saw the Superman movie, and I got to admit, he's a little bit more Superman-centric than he was before seeing it. So I go and I look at it, and I'm like, all right, how much is this? How much for me to rent for like 24 hours on Amazon Prime? How much for me to rent Superman the movie? So in my mind, I'm going, well, if it's $8, I'll pay that. If it's $8, because that's like what a movie ticket costs, right? Like and it's at home. I'm not going to a movie. There's no overhead, so it's probably like $8. Wrong. $24.99. $24.99 to watch Superman last night. So yeah, I was like, yeah, no, sorry. Here's why I won't do that. Because that is unfair to the movie. Because if I have to pay $24.99 to see a movie that I've been wanting to see, I'm going to put extra pressure on that movie to be worth $24.99. See how unfair that is to the movie? $24.99 isn't a grand sum of money, but in that moment, in this particular scenario, it's like, is this movie worth $24? I mean, seriously, a couple months from now, I'll catch it on Netflix whenever I want for free. Well, not free. for a reasonable monthly stipend. Let's see. I got nothing else, guys. We're just sitting here waiting for Putin. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to remind you that today's show was brought to you by CC. All the shows the rest of the week were brought to you by... I almost said Putin. I mean, Peter. And the show does run on tips. We do it every day. If you want to drop a little something, that would be greatly appreciated. I won't turn it down, as we say. Venmo, Cash App, those are all up and operational. I'm still thinking about Miss Williams. Remember I showed you Miss Williams, that hot black teacher down there in Houston? God, she's so cute. Her smile just melted me. As soon as we sign off, it's open right here. That window is still open on my computer. As soon as I sign up, man, I'm going to click and I'm going to go, oh, Miss Williams, I'm smitten. All right, nothing's going to happen. I think that if I stretch this out, that they'll come out and we'll sit and we'll be able to watch it. Maybe if it happens within the next couple of minutes, I'll do a special stream and we can all watch the Putin president press conference together. But I really don't think that's what's going to happen. Please tip the show if you can. And the rest of you, rally back here on Monday. Have yourself a great weekend, a fun weekend. I think I'm going, I think tomorrow night, I might go to Mike Reiner's birthday party at the Barley House. I don't know if you've seen that. I don't know, it's his band he's playing. I've never seen his band. It's close to my place. I might do that. That's what I'm going to do. Other than that, I got no other plans. Big Ed's in town. Big Ed of Radio Misfits. We're going to have to run around town with Big Ed. I'm going to have to. Well, I want to. Oh, kids got a scrimmage on Saturday morning. Oh, God, I felt like such an asshole dad. Speaking of the 80s, I felt like an 80s dad. My kid goes, so I got a 9 o'clock scrimmage on Saturday. And then he says the stadium that he's doing it at. Yeah, high schools in Texas, they all have stadiums. They're all like crazy stadiums. It's like, yeah, we're doing a scrimmage. It's my first varsity scrimmage. I'm like, what time is it? He's like, 9 a.m. And I go, yeah, I'm probably not going to make that. Probably not going to make your 9 a.m. August, Texas scrimmage. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm not playing anyway. I go, what do you mean you're not playing? He's like, it's my first day. And it's true. He's, there's a couple of kids that are in front of him for his position. He's only a junior. He's just come. There are 2 seniors that are in front of him. So he's like, I'm probably not going to play. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, then will you be very upset if I don't show up? And he's like, no, that's cool. You don't have to show up. I'm like, all right, good. So he left me off the hook. But wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm going anyway. I'm going to show up tomorrow. I'm going to show. He'll see me. That's how Dad scores points. I told him I wasn't going. I told him that was probably not going to be tenable. But I do. I fully expect to go. Again, nothing happening here with the president. We're waiting to see what's going on. There, not even any word. Don't know if they're toweling off after a. Are they in the sauna now at the Wasilla Holodome? I don't know. I got no way to end the show today. I'm completely out of show. I'm watching, TV out of this. I want you guys to have a good weekend. I love you all. You're the best. Bye. All right, hold on a second. Hold on. I'm back. I love Frank, and I love Frank's excitement about Ed Silla being in town. We're all very excited about Ed Silla being in town. But Frank, let me draw your attention to something. Okay, first of all right, here we go. Right. Frank says this. Ed Silla in town. Trip to Portillo's or Weinberger's Deli. Why? Why would Ed, who lives in Chicago, want to come to Dallas to get delicacies at specific Dallas restaurants that... In other words, he's not coming to Dallas to get Chicago-style pizza and Italian beef sandwiches. He's lousy with that where he is every day. Frankie, baby, come on. We're going for tacos and we're going for barbecue. We're doing all the shit with Ed that Texas does better than anyone else. Me and you, Frankie. Me and you got to go to Weinberger's and get a Pugs and Kelly sandwich. Or you and me got to go to... Not Ed. Ed doesn't need it. Trust me. Ed's been in town for like 3 days, but, he's probably already had 4 Italian beefs this week because he did spend 2 days in Chicago. So, appreciate that. Adam's got plans this weekend. Adam's going to Houston for his mom's 75th birthday party. Hey. That's awesome, man. Tell Mama Adam that I said happy birthday. That's fun. Not the drive to Houston. That's not fun. That sucks. Texas, I'm sorry to say, is one of the worst states to drive through. Texas is an awful state to drive through. There's nothing to see. There ain't nothing to see. Not as bad as Oklahoma. I've long, held firm on my position that driving through Oklahoma is like driving through America's ashtray. That's what Oklahoma reminds me of. You're just like, oh, giant cigarette butts everywhere, just a massive ashtray we're driving through. There's nothing to see, is my point. Southern Oklahoma, the part that shades over towards Arkansas and all that, there's definitely stuff to see there. But when you just get into like the guts of Oklahoma, the stuff they gave to the Indians, nothing grows there. That's just desolate. That is just nothing. Missouri, you want to drive through a beautiful state? Missouri is a beautiful state. Wisconsin is a beautiful state. Pennsylvania is a beautiful state. Not Texas. Texas is not a beautiful state. Illinois, my home state, not a beautiful state. The top 40 miles of Illinois, the top 40 miles that is still in the Great Lakes region, that's all green with rivers and valleys and all that, that's beautiful. But there's like another 500, 600 miles below it that is just the worst. I mean, I couldn't imagine having to drive through Indiana, Illinois, and then Iowa. It's like, oh my God, there is nothing to see for 1,000 miles. Corn. You get to see corn. Can you tell I'm out of shit to talk about? But now I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, well, I should at least make it to 4 o'clock. So maybe I can stretch. $75 is better than $35. Well, in dollars, I mean, that's like the only what? Like, yeah, $75 is better than $35. But I don't think I can agree with my boy Barney that the age 75 is better than 35. Fuck no. 35 is like great. That's like the best age. No, it's not the best. The best age is 29. 29 is the best age, I think. 75 is better than 35. When driving, maybe? Oh, I see what he's saying. I get it. He means 75 Central versus 35. I get it. See, look at that. That took like 5 minutes. And still the presidents are not coming out to speak. All right, Adam says, sure, we can get into this. Adam says, let's talk football over-unders. All right, what do you mean? Throw something at me. We're just killing time now, waiting to see if the president, because now there are 2 dudes at the podium. It isn't Putin and it isn't Trump, but they seem to be like testing the mics and all that, which is an indication that maybe something is coming. Adam, all right, I'm still waiting. I know we got a terrible delay here. I'll take football. I'll talk football. I'll take your questions. See, this is what I hate about this. I hate the delay. Because, yeah, Peter says, Peter is pointing out that Barney was talking about freeways. But I didn't pick up on that at first because Adam had said that his mother was 75 years old. And I thought that's what Barney was referring to. Barney posted 75 is better than 35. Adam had previously posted that his mother was turning 75. I thought Barney, and I think that's understandable, I thought Barney was referring to that. I was wrong. I then realized, oh, he's talking about 75 and 35 as the road 75 or 35. Gotcha. Thank you, Peter. Yes, that is what he's talking about. All right, let's see. Adam says, I'll take questions. Go ahead. Throw out any questions you got here for me. We're killing time. I've got a little bit of time here. Adam says, I was in Vegas and made a few bets. Cowboys over 7.5, Raiders over 7, and Rockets over 55. Adam, did you really feel the need to put Rockets in parentheses or basketball in parentheses? Like, I wouldn't. There's no NFL team called the Rockets. Like, did you think that was going to be my response? I know you didn't. Cowboys over 7.5. I'll take that. I would take the Cowboys over 7.5. Raiders over 7. Ooh, that's interesting. Great believer in the Alshon and Pete Carroll combination. That's interesting. All right. Basketball, I don't know. I don't know about the Rockets. That's going to be your area. All right. Adam says, I think every team in the NFC North may go over, not enough to bet it. Look, dude, indulge me for a second. I look at my team's schedule and I outright panic. The NFC North, we're the worst team in the NFC North. We're the rebuilding team. We're the team that's, trying to get out of the cellar. And we've made some moves, and the fans of the Chicago Bears are very optimistic. But we shouldn't be kidding ourselves that the Detroit Lions are still not the kings of the North, and that the Minnesota Vikings won 14 games last year, and that the Green Bay Packers also seem to be reloading quietly, and nobody seems to be noticing. It is a really scary division. And this happens with the NFL. It's the ebb and flow of it, right? I mean, just within the last 10 years, we have seen the NFC East go from being the most difficult division in football to the worst, back to being another difficult division again. The NFC North just a couple of years ago was the absolute worst division in football. Nobody gave a shit about anybody in the North, right? The Packers were always just disappointing in the playoffs. They looked good in the regular season. The North wasn't scary. The North is fucking scary now. And my team's got to play every team in the North twice. And then we got to play the AFC North, which is probably the second most difficult division in football. I know there'll be a couple of people that argue more minute points about the other divisions, but I do think that the two North divisions in the AFC and the NFC are the two best divisions in football, and my fucking team has to play both divisions, one of them twice. Then on top of that, we got the NFC East, which contains, among others, two playoff teams, one the Super Bowl champion, two the Commanders, and the always difficult Cowboys. So I don't know, like all teams in the NFC North going over, I think the Bears might still be too young, and it's still just a first year with a new coach. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I would take that bet. I think there's a good chance that the Bears win 7 games. It's just too difficult, man. We got to play the Ravens. We got to play the Bengals. We got to play the Steelers. We got to play the Lions twice, Packers twice, Vikings twice, Cowboys. It's a very San Francisco. We got to play San Francisco. We got to play Vegas in Vegas. We got to play Kansas City. I don't know how we drew that. Wait, no, Kansas City's in the preseason. Anyway, it's ridiculous. So regardless of the optimism that I have for my team, the Chicago Bears, I'm rooted in the reality of this is a very difficult schedule, and the NFC is got a lot of baller teams right now, a lot of teams that are scary. I still think the Cincinnati Bengals are a scary freaking team. Don't sleep on the Bengals because of Joe Burrow. All right, let's see what else. Sports Bras CC, he's checking in. He says we can all agree the South always sucks. Yeah, but they'll change that around, man. It wasn't too long ago that the NFC South had the Super Bowl champions. They'll turn it around. Any division or conference that sucks today, you can rest assured that in 2 or 3 years they'll probably be really good. But yeah, right now definitely the South sucks. South sucks. Adam says Cowboys have a tough draw, NFC West and AFC West. Yeah, that's not easy either. That is not easy. So how is it that the Cowboys are playing? Oh, okay, never mind. I got you. There you go. I was confused. Adam also says it's up to 8.5 for the Bears. I maybe wouldn't take that. No, I would take the under on 8.5. Just if I'm betting, There are a couple other, like I would be very interested. Well, see, I follow Bears camp the way any diehard fan of any team follows their team's camp. So I'm not saying I follow the Bears closer than, say CC follows the Cowboys, but I do follow the Bears very closely. And I would say if there's a bet to be made out there of Luther Burden for offensive rookie of the year, I would take that. I would place a bet on Luther Burden, the third offensive rookie of the year. He's Ben's Amon-Ra. Ben needs an Amon-Ra, and he's got this rookie with 4.3 insane speed who's got Spider-Man-like ability to catch everything. I mean, just look at the college fucking tape of Luther Burden III. Don't look at last year because Missouri sucked last year because their quarterback was garbage, but look at the year before. Luther Burden III, as a sophomore, led the SEC in receptions. That was an SEC that had Malik Neighbors in it. It had Brian Thomas in it. It had any number of other. It didn't have the other guy. The other guy went to Ohio State. Junior. What's his name? Anyway, that would be a bet I would make. I would make that prop bet. Adam asked, he said, do you have any bets? I would lay $5 on Luther Burden III in Ben Johnson's new Chicago Bears offensive scheme, really turning heads and being a serious threat for offensive rookie of the year. That would just be a little bit of insider from that team. Ben is just scheming up some crazy. Can I just say for a minute here about Ben Johnson? Football fans know who I'm talking about. Other people don't. Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator. He's been in Detroit for 6 years, but he was only offensive coordinator for 3 years. Detroit ranked in the top 5 NFL offenses all 3 years that he was in charge. He was obviously the belle of the ball in the offseason coaching carousel. Everybody wanted him. He chose Chicago. Chose Chicago because of all the other teams that were there. He chose Chicago begrudgingly. He didn't want to go to an in-division team, but he chose Chicago because he liked their draft picks. And I am very comforted in the idea that Ben Johnson chose Chicago specifically because of Caleb Williams, because he looked at him and went, I could do shit with that. Just let me have that. So that's very, very exciting for us. But one of the things about Ben Johnson is I did not anticipate, and I don't think anybody really knows, because we saw Ben Johnson in the shadow of Dan Campbell. Now we know what Dan Campbell is. Would it surprise any of you to learn that Ben Johnson is a fucking red-ass drill sergeant? He's like fucking Bill Parcells. He's like Mike Ditka. I've been calling him Ben Ditka. He's not one of these new modern Mike McDaniel, let me hug it out with my players kinds of guys. No, he's I expect perfection, and if you don't give me perfection, you are gone type of coach. And I love it. I love it because Eberflus was Mr. Goofy. It's okay. I don't know what I'm doing. Eberflus was Mr. Goofy. He wasn't in charge. It was just absolute chaos. And before him, Nagy was Mr. Nagy is not as bad as I once thought he was. Nagy was Mr. Dude Bro, though. Matt Nagy was, my players all love me. I'm a players coach. They all love me. And he was. And they did. But, after a couple of good seasons, the bottom fell out because he lost control of the team. Now we got a guy in here who is absolutely a red ass. He benched. We were introduced by this. First week of practice, he benched the entire first team offense, like immediately, not playing favorites, calling Caleb out. Get your ass out of here. He brought in the second. He wasn't afraid from the very beginning, and I love that. And I don't know if that's going to translate into wins, but it is certainly going to hopefully instill some discipline on a team that has had no discipline for years. Championship mindset means you sacrifice and that practices suck and they're hard. And you don't like your coaches because you get yelled at because we are human and we make mistakes and we learn from them. That's what I want. Now let me ask you, Cowboy fans. What are you getting with Shotzi? I don't really know, right? Like I don't really know what Shotzi is. Shotzi doesn't appear to be a red ass. Marty, his dad wasn't a red. Marty's a genius. His dad is a genius, a scheme genius, game plan genius. But I don't know anything about the new Cowboys coach. And I don't know what he's like. I don't know what he's like on the sidelines. I don't know. We'll see. Hoping for the best, though, because the Cowboys are really talented. I mean, I know they are thin in some very important spots that could be the difference between having a winning season and a losing season, right? Cowboys are stacked. They look great at wide receiver. They look great at skill positions. Maybe not running back. I mean, I suppose it also depends on if you trust in Dak. They now got their tight end situation all on. But, the offensive line is a question. Like I could see CD going for like 1,600, 2,000, whatever. I could see CD and Dak having a huge year, but the team is losing every game, because they don't have an offensive line or don't have any way to really. They have do they have depth at corner? That's my concern. I know we love Bland, and Bland had a big season a couple of years ago. I don't know. The Cowboys, I don't know. Not that I know anything about any other team. I mean, I don't know anything about the Bears either. My Bears thing, biased and optimistic. That's a fan take. That's, but I look at the Cowboys differently. I look at the Cowboys as a fan of the NFL and I really don't know what the Cowboys are. Let's see here. Adam talking about Schottenheimer. He says, Shotzi seems tough-minded. He always loves a good power run attack. Yeah, same with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, you always think of the trick plays and all that shit. Ben Johnson is Mr. Run play option. He's Mr. Run, soften up the middle for 40s. That's what he does. And I'm starting to see it, and I don't mind it. I'll tell you what I do like. I do like watching Ben Johnson's offense as opposed to watching the offenses that were installed under Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy's offenses were always like, and then we're going to build a Ferris wheel over here, and the tight end is going to dive off the Ferris. Like, Matt Nagy was insane. Nuts. Ben Johnson, his offense, when they line up, it looks very boring. But then it's what they do. It's like what they do with that. And it's all part of his whole philosophy. Make the same things look different and different things be the same. Whatever that means, it sounds like coaching mumbo jumbo, but I do kind of get it after watching some of his offenses. Adam also says, and their offensive coordinator, I guess he's talking about Cowboys, and their offensive coordinator was a run fit guy in Arizona. I think they're going to run the rock. Cowboys? Adam, aren't you a Bengals guy? I always think of Adam. He used to wear a Bengals jersey. I don't remember who it was, what player he used to wear, but he used to proudly wear a Bengals jersey, and I always thought, that's interesting. That's like Cincinnati? What drew him to a team from Cincinnati? Must be the colors. I remember thinking that. I'm a Bengals guy now. I love being a Bengals guy. Hi, Ben. Benji Clark hanging out with us, showing up a little bit late. We're done. Look at me. We talked a little bit of football, and I made it to 4 o'clock, and the president is still not talking. Hi, Ben. Something strange is happening now with my computer. It's working very slow. All right, guys, that's going to do it. One more time, if you want to help out, tip the show, that's fine. We're not, it's great. I appreciate it, but, I'll hit you up on Pledge Week. Don't worry about it now. Also, the president and Putin, they're not going to come out. They're not going to come out. They're not going to play one-on-one. They're not going to do anything fun. It seems like we're going to be waiting here all day. Whatever. They're probably talking about important stuff. They're not worried about my schedule. I want you guys to have a good weekend. When's the Cowboys game? Tomorrow? Cowboys playing tomorrow? And then Sunday night, got Bears, Bills. I think that's a national TV game. Sunday night, Bears, Bills in Soldier Field. Ugh. Chicago Sports Radio. This will be a real test. First team offense will be starting their first game in preseason. All the starters are starting for at least a series there. So we're going to get to see Ben's starting offense here against the Buffalo Bills. I would be like, oh, God, they're so good. Really? You couldn't have rolled in the Jacksonville Jaguars for the unveiling? We got to go up against the Buffalo Bills. Here's something fun. The Bears and the Buffalo Bills are holding a joint practice currently. They're in Chicago at Hallis Hall, which is the practice facility and training camp facilities there for the Bears. Hallis Hall. The Buffalo Bills are back at Hallis Hall. Why is this an interesting thing? Because it's the return of former number 2 pick Mitch Trubisky. That's right, Mitchie boy. Mitchie Trubisky is coming back as the backup to Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. He's going to be back at Hallis Hall for the first time since he completely bottomed out. God, no, I can't wait to see the presser. There's going to be a presser. They're going to trot. The Buffalo Bills are going to trot Mitch out to talk to the press. The Chicago press is going to fawn all over him. Mitch was always a good dude. It was the fans who were like, ugh. But Mitch was never a problem. Mitch was a good dude who got shit on. We were all happy because, Justin came in. We were like, yeah, Justin's better than Mitch. Mitch is going to be a Hall of Famer at the bank. That's what Mitch Trubisky is going to be. Mitch Trubisky has figured out a way to have what I believe is the greatest NFL experience ever for anybody not named Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady is the apex of, what do you mean he was like the last person picked and now he's the greatest quarterback ever? I mean, Tom Brady has a special career that's different. But Mitch Trubisky is going to be a Hall of Famer at the bank. What does that mean? It means he's going to be in this league for 15 years as a backup. He's going to be cashing backup quarterback checks for like 15 years. He's going to have the cleanest uniform in all of sports. He's never going to see any action. He is going to retire. Backup quarterback money in the NFL. Do you know what that is? That's better than a whole lot of other number one positions in the NFL. Backup, he could be cashing $15 million checks every year for the next 15 years and never play outside of the preseason. That, my friend, is what's called a Hall of Famer at the bank, and it is the best job you can have in the NFL. Just ask Chase Daniel, who like every year, hey, they just signed Chase Daniel to $12 million for this year. They just need somebody, a vet quarterback in the room. Every time somebody drafts a slew of new first-round quarterbacks or whatever, they're going to need to overpay some hack journeyman quarterback to be in the room with the big first-round rookie arm. That's what Mitch has been able to do, man. Mitch has been able to do that pretty well. So God bless Mitch Trubisky. And, that's the way you retire from the NFL as a quarterback without any limps. He won't be limping. The backup quarterback, they don't limp into retirement, man. They're fucking perfect. They're fine. They're 38. They're still young. They've had no major surgeries because they've never played. And they've made like $15 million a year. I love it. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch the Mitch Trubisky press conference from Hallis Hall because everybody's going to be nice to him. It's going to be friendly. He's going to be friendly, and it's going to be a nice thing. Probably will not be some big Jumbotron tribute, with Mitch Trubisky moments with, Sarah McLachlan. I will remember you. No, there's none of that. No Green Day, Time of Our Lives. But it will be nice to see Mitchie back in the press room at Hallis Hall. He was a nice kid. He's a good kid. That's it. I'm done, guys. I've tried enough. I've stretched this show. We've gone a full, honestly, a half hour ago, I said goodbye. And then I came back. So you guys are the best. Got to go. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday. Be nice to each other.